When customers come into the Bell branch, I would like them to know that it's not just a place they can do their banking. They can come laugh with us, cry with us, pray with us. We want to be their friend, not just their bankers. My name is Courtney Frazier, and I'm the Bell branch manager. Happy Banking is different because our level of customer service that we offer to our customers and the personal relationships that we develop with our customers.
Our attorney's here, we're good to go. At 1:30, so I guess we could, thanks everyone for being here. I'd asked Jared if he doesn't mind giving us
Do y'all mind?
quick weather update, because I know if y'all are as interested in the weather, it's amazing, and I can't believe it. It looks like it's going to be worse than last week. Is that right? I don't know. Jared, I'll let you do it.
Likely. Right now, what we've just learned, as of noon, Bushland School will be let out at 2 o'clock today. That's primarily due to the wind, the cold, and the visibility. We're having whiteout reports throughout both Potter and Randall County, and it apparently is worse even as you go west towards Vega. The city will stand up our emergency operations center at 3 o'clock today. They'll stay there at least through the evening commute, and we'll have duty officers overnight. We'll start again in the morning. The last I read, they're still calling for not more than about 6 inches of snow, but it's going to be the blowing and the visibility that's going to be the biggest problem. Last we heard, it's still expected for the roughest part of this to slide to the east. And then we get back into Oklahoma, it's likely to be a mess even worse than what they had last week.
So if I have to go to Holland tonight, I should go.
Or you may get there and stay. You might. This thing's coming in from the north, and I looked at the radar before lunch, and it covers a pretty good chunk of south central Kansas to southwest Kansas. So
Did
it's a
any
huge
of our facilities have frozen pipes after it thawed out?
Yeah, we had some minor pipe leaks.
Well, there have been some major ones across the city, I know, but I didn't know if the city had many.
Wow. Amarillo was fortunate, we generally maintained both power and natural gas throughout all of this. In a lot of places that didn't happen.
Oh, really?
Did we get our 1,000 tons in salt?
No, we don't have the new salt in. How are you on the bunkers, Michael?
We're good, sir.
I noticed Oklahoma bought a lot.
They had
Probably a lot.
It seems like they're buying it a whole lot cheaper because they buy a bigger quantity.
Or are they closer to
It's just market. It's just
$35.
delivered? Or they delivered?
I don't know. Didn't get into that part of the contract.
Oklahoma City?
Oh, state of it.
The state of Oklahoma.
So that's what we can buy. Wherever the state law.
We can buy from TxDOT.
Texas.
State.
Yeah, we can buy through that contract, but I don't know that it's been real advantageous to us.
Okay, well, we have a lot on our agenda, so we'll go ahead and, let's do the agenda real quick.
Okay.
Let's do the agenda real quick and then come back, if that's all right, to the work session and everything. Is that all right?
Absolutely.
Make sure we get through it. Okay, we have, let's see, I think a second time number 2. Is that right?
That's correct, Mayor. Second and final of the rezoning up here on the northeast side of town, eastern and Highway 136, coming from industrial district to light commercial district. Again, with the unusual thing being that will be for single-family detached homes. Kelly, wherever you are, any changes?
Any questions? If not, let's go ahead to the consent agenda. You can write down the list there, please, sir.
Here, item A is our annual purchase of sheet steel. You might recall that last year and the year before, we actually had very favorable bids. Price has gone up nearly 50% on the sheet steel. This is what we use to keep the large dumpsters in good shape throughout the year, put new bottoms on them, and different pieces and parts like that.
Did you say double? Oh, yeah, 49%. Wow. Okay, this on a vehicle upgrade.
Item B is to basically remove and replace the existing ballistic windows on our little armored vehicle, and we would also like to upgrade the protection on the radiator for this vehicle. Should we approve this, funding for it will all be from police department seized funds, and therefore has no impact on your police operating budget or the general fund.
How old is that vehicle?
It is an 04, I believe, Ron. We bought it as a demonstrator. It was 1 year old.
As a demonstrator, do Y'all shoot at the window, see if it works?
I hope not.
And you shoot at the window, see if it works before you replace it?
My
Make it
guess
worse.
is we'll get the windows back. And they'll be used for
Something else.
Okay, the dam services, please.
The dam services.
What? Now, let's be careful here. Objects being reported.
Yeah,
Okay,
this
Mayor,
dam's
this-
not holding water, as Dean and I figured out.
It has not for many, many, many decades. You know where Randall County Feedlot is?
Yes.
Due south of Randall County Feedlot, there on City Lake Road. The dam is immediately off to your west. You can see it when you hit the bottom if you'll turn back, and look to your right. That was originally built in the late 20s and early 30s. It's going to be a water supply for Amarillo. We have a pumping plant out there, pipelines that come all the way to town. The lake just never really held water.
Yes, sir.
And what we've learned from it is, over the years, at the time that the water level comes up in the lake and disappears, the water level in the wells around it comes up as well. So there's a fault of some sort out there that's influencing it. States changed the rules on those who own dams. You now have to prove that they can handle a maximum probable flood event.
Probable or possible?
Probable, which that one won't. So you basically either have to improve and expand that dam and the spillway to do so, or you have to put a breach in the dam that would be sufficient to let that flow pass without having it build up and then break through and really cause problems for folks downstream. Looking at it, the least cost alternative, the most efficient alternative would be to do the breach. And that's what this contract is for here. It's the professional services necessary to do that.
And these are the folks that got the bid.
Mhm.
Zach Murphy.
Priest and Nichols Inc.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Freezing Nichols, yeah.
Mhm.
Any questions? Okay.
I think this would be a great opportunity for somebody like to drive a bulldozer, just for fun.
Okay.
Get out there and take care of it.
Maybe we could rent that dam for demo for John Deere and for all these guys.
Let them take it out for demo equipment.
Yeah.
Is it good practice? The water main rehab project?
Mayor, item D, this is one of the items that we had in the CIP. This is the large pipeline that connects back from the Bond Street pump station area all the way down to the 34th Street pump station. The project will start at the 34th Street pump station and work 2,100 linear feet back kind of to the north-northeast. This pipeline is under and in some pretty tight areas, so digging it up to replace it is not really an option. The project that we're proposing to do puts a liner in that pipe, has the liner basically inflated to where it seals and creates a new pipe inside of the pipe. Doing that will minimize the disruption, and it'll sure stop us from digging up a lot of stuff that we really don't want to be digging up. I expect next year you'll see a continuation of this project.
These things like this, are they already budgeted? They were budgeted, you knew that this was going to happen this year, and so on. That's amazing. Is that a capital improvement?
That is a capital improvement.
And you say you inflate it, so it's pretty flexible.
When it goes in,
When it goes in, is there a hardening agent that goes in?
it cures,
Cures
it
out.
becomes rigid.
It's interesting.
Emmett and his staff have done a lot of this, especially in some of the sewer lines, the wastewater lines. They've been very successful in doing so. It's pretty neat technology.
It's like a stent, isn't it? The heart, is that right, Doctor? Is it? Oh. Stent.
Isn't there one of them where you actually put like a fluorescent light through there?
UV light.
Like my-
Yeah. That's great, we can do that. Then we have the fertilizer and herbicide.
Annual purchase of fertilizers and herbicides. Odd to talk about it on a day like today, but these are the supplies we need coming up through the spring and summer for the parks and ball fields and golf courses, other places like that.
Okay. Alley infrastructure?
Mayor, this is the contract to do the alley between South Mirror and South Houston Street from 27th to 29th. So it's a two-block project to do that, funded with Community Development Block Grant funds awarded to Habitat for Humanity. Supports their efforts.
Oh, yeah. Okay, and we have a lease of some city property.
Mayor, item G is the lease of the little coffee shop slash cafe that's in the basement of the police department to Mr. Vargas. Actually a pretty well-used facility down there.
It's the same lessee?
This is a new one.
Is it really? Has he started down there yet?
Yeah, he's down there.
And then we have a big ticket item here, the next one.
This is a fun one. This is a wastewater master plan for the entirety of the city. This is one of the tools that will be used not only to account for and plan for future growth, but to help us manage the existing infrastructure throughout town, to know where we need to work next, what we need to do next, how the flow rates, things like that work. It is a long-term contract, but that's because they have to monitor and evaluate what we're doing over the course of an entire 365-day year to account for differences in the seasonal flows. Produces a very sophisticated tool for us to use and helps us manage those infrastructure items into the future.
Is this a part of the comprehensive plan? Will it be or not necessarily? It's a separate issue?
It's a little bit of a separate issue. The comprehensive plan does speak to your need to maintain, expand, and support infrastructure. This tells us how best and most efficiently to do it where it's most needed.
Why did we end up being 13% over the estimate?
Prices are going up.
Is that right? It's because they have more demands on it. What are the prices for equipment, computer systems, and software?
Demand for these type of bills, demand. These people are coming up with capital money to spend. Materials are going up as well, but this contract's not affected by that.
Okay, excuse me, Ryan.
Right, this is kind of like the street thing we did.
Yes, a very good analogy, like the inventory that was done to basically catalog Amarillo streets and the
Yes.
condition that they were in, who we needed to work on next, and so forth.
And so there's a master plan, like of all of the pipeline and everything underground?
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah, we maintain the maps of all that, which of course they'll use as a starting point for this, but they'll actually go in and study the rates of flow at different areas, flow going out to the plants. Do we need to do something different with one of those two or both? Look at, it's pretty comprehensive.
The old wastewater plants that we have, are they depicted in some sort of a map at all? The pipeline underneath the city? Do we know where every pipeline is?
We know where everyone is. We know where the substantial majority of the pipelines and the valves and things like that are. With the computerized systems for doing that, every time they work on something, they ensure that it's mapped accurately and correctly, and we're able to push that information out in the field much easier than what we used to be able to do.
Okay, great. Does anyone have any questions on the consent agenda? Okay, great. Then we can go to the work session, and we have some interesting things to talk about here. We have
Three presentation discussion items today, Mayor. The first one is the presentation discussion of your City of Amarillo audit and comprehensive annual financial report, or as Dean would say, the CAPR. So for that, we have Janie and Jerry. Jerry?
Dean, would you like to step up too? All three of you all? Janie, would you like to come up to the front?
We'll let Jerry do it.
Okay. Janie, you're
I don't think so, we insist.
Okay, Jerry, that's fine. That's fine. Are you using the computer?
No,
Okay.
I think y'all don't have a report, I hope. Well, you have the camper as well?
The big one.
I thought you were just giving that to us, just putting that up.
I think normally we hand those out as you get here today, and that's probably not a fair way to have y'all look at those and try to plow through them. So you had a little bit of a head start this year.
A little bit of a head start. And, well, first, thanks for the opportunity. I always enjoy presenting everything to y'all every year. As Janie was introduced, she was senior manager on the job. She pretty much does most of the work, her and the staff. So she's always happy to answer all the tough questions, as I say. And I'd also like to thank Curtis, Dean, Michelle, all their staff. This is a huge job for everybody, and they do a great job. As y'all know, y'all got a great staff working here. And so I really appreciate all their work. One of the good things we did when we handed out the CAFR this year, you'll notice it has some red tabs on it that are numbered. I actually, we went through there and kind of went through what I was going to present, and I marked the pages so I could tell y'all which page to help y'all get there quicker and easier, so we could kind of hit some high points.
Are you angry at me? You didn't give me the red tab.
You just forgot your book, didn't you?
Do you need a copy?
What's that? I'm okay. I'll just look on.
You look at James there.
Yes.
You won't have much.
You got the cheat notes on here?
She has it memorized.
Just the right tab.
So like I said, I'm just gonna hit some high points. If you have any questions, just let me know. I'll start with tab 1. It's actually page 1. And this is really what it's all about. This is the independent auditor's report. Third paragraph does state, in our opinion, the financial statement presented fairly in all material respects in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. So that's a clean opinion. That's the opinion you want to have. So that's very good. Next on tab 2.
Tell me again, Jerry,
Yes, sir.
on page 3, why y'all didn't sign these. They just signed this firm signature rather than saying Jerry Miller.
Because the firm's the issuing the report, not Jerry. I signed, no, I'm the one signing that, but that's the firm's signature.
But that's not your name.
It just has what my
One of
name
them
is.
is.
Yeah, one of them is.
We're required to sign things.
Yeah, in the accounting world, is the firm issues the report, so I'm just doing.
Firm goes to jail by
Yeah, everybody in the
It's a
firm.
team.
If we go down, we go down together.
Okay.
Get all the praise together, you go down together. It's the
Okay.
whole team aspect here. So,
Do you have to contract any of your work out just because it's such a big project?
no matter.
You don't need it all in-house?
All right, now, it's one more step. Page 5 is the management discussion and analysis. This is provided by Dean and the staff. Like I tell people, there's a lot of numbers in here. If you really just read about it, sometimes the MD&A is a good little read. Puts everything in a storybook. And so I always recommend people to read through that.
Was that the management discussions and analysis?
MD&A. So that's a good thing to read there. Now, if you'll skip over, I'm going to skip to tab 3. It's actually on page 94. Tabs aren't actually in order, but I just want to hit some certain pages. So on page 94, it's tab 3. What this is the budgetary comparison schedule for the general fund. Actually, I just want to point out a couple things. First, if you go down to about a 3/4 way down the page, you'll see the excess revenues over expenditures line. If you go to the very far right part, you'll see a $4,400,036 positive variance on your budget. Now, if you go up, you can look. We all know we had a tough year in revenue. Revenue was actually below budget by $4.5 million, mostly made up in sales tax, gross receipts, and investment earnings. But the city was very proactive, did a very good job of managing costs and expenses. As you can tell, expenditures came in at a favorable variance of almost $9 million. So you'll do a very good job of managing costs at a time when you had some uncertainty in the revenue. So I think that's a very good point. I applaud y'all for that, everybody involved.
Do you mind telling me where that first number is? You said 4 million.
$4 million.
Oh, it's right under it. Thank you.
The next page, number 4, is on the next page, on page 95. I know one of the items y'all addressed this year related to the Texas Municipal Retirement System and the funding requirements. This is a required schedule in the report, so as you can see, if you go to the bottom, start at the bottom, 123103, if you go over 5 columns, there's a funded ratio column. You can see in 03, the funded ratio was 70.3%. If you go up to 09, the latest actuarial report is at 53%. What this means is obviously you'd be required to make more contributions into the plan to keep it as it is. And that's a mechanism, a big calculation from the actuary, of course. But one of the things, as y'all know, y'all did, once again, being proactive, and I'll point you to page number 5, tab 5 for that, on page 56. As you made some adjustments to that, where you dropped COLA on page 56. Those adjustments y'all made are projected to bring that funded ratio back up to near 70%, which is a good thing.
Within a year?
Pretty close, yeah, just those. The way the calculation works, it shows it up to like that. So I just wanted to point that out and show that that's been disclosed in there, and I think that's good. And then item 6. It's on page 114, 115. I'm sorry, yeah, 116. kind of talked about this a while ago, it relates to the capital project funds. As y'all know, you have a lot of things going on, and these are the various funds that account for a lot of that activity. Mainly what I want to point out is the far right-hand column, the total column, has a fund balance of a little over $39 million in your capital projects funds. Your CO, your bond funds from the 06-07 still has a little over $7 million.
That's the CO?
A lot of that's committed though.
Yes, and I'll get into the next part. Yeah. So you can see you have the various fund balances. This relates directly to, part of this is just kind of giving you a roadmap where everything's at here. Page 62.
So what else is lacking on that?
But the vast majority of that money is committed. It's assigned to a capital project that's being paid out.
You have
not committed funding for the last fire station. There's a small amount holdover from some of the street improvements due to the favorable bid prices.
Most of it's the fire.
Most of it's the
And I
fire.
think it's more than one fire station,
Yeah.
right, because we just started.
Because we just started one.
Yeah, 12.
Yeah, if you look on page 62, there's a schedule, just a little bit down from the top. And this is your commitments. So these are the projects. If you look up there in this table, the last column, the city's remaining committed amount. You can see you've committed a little over $24.6 million in commitments outstanding for construction. So this is a way to see what you have committed, and you can look at the funds to see that those funds are available for those commitments. So I just wanted to show you where all that information was.
Janie, when you start off with doing this project, I guess you'd say, do you have 3 different numbers as far as the budget is concerned? The M&O, you have the capital improvements, and then do you have, are there three different distinct, I've heard this a million times, but I can't remember, 3
Talking about
distinct.
the different funds?
Yes.
That we have in general fund, capital, you have water and wastewater, which is an enterprise fund in the airport.
Oh,
which is an
4,
enterprise
so you have 4.
Yeah, special
When,
revenue.
when someone says,
Special
what is the
revenue
budget
grants.
for Amarillo, what would you say?
225 million.
Well, I don't want to be able to general budget.
I'd refer to the general fund, and that's your day-to-day operations, so to speak. I mean, you can give them a budget for, obviously, for water and sewer or airport, which are separated.
140.
So what is that number?
The general fund?
About 140.
Oh, really? I always say 220. Yeah,
Well,
I always say
the
300.
water and sewer and airports, about, we
Right.
put them all in there, and grants, it's about 200, yeah.
The
But-
capital's on top of
Has
that.
that dropped some of the recent
Capital
years?
on top of that.
That 200, has that dropped?
That's what he's talking about.
No.
I look at the general fund, I like to point out general fund, because that's something you can point out, and you can see where the tax revenues are, and that's something that you have some control, more day-to-day activities, I'd say, in that area.
And our sales tax is accounted for in here as well?
General fund.
Right. And we are up in our sales tax
It
dollars.
is ticking upwards right now. The last couple pages on 120, one item that I know y'all discussed about, this is internal service funds. It's the item, it's tab 8. I want to point out the employee insurance fund does have a negative balance in, but if you remember, you have that new accounting pronouncement for the post-retirement. That OPEB, that's what we like to call it in our world, but it requires you to have a big accrual, accrue all these liabilities over the time. So that's cause of that. That's the reason that has a negative balance in it. So obviously, you're on a pay-as-you-go basis, and so I do want to point that out so you can see that.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to find all these numbers.
She's always checking out the numbers.
I know. She does. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Cannot see it.
I'm so sorry.
No, no.
So small.
38 inch. Right there. Thank you. So many numbers. Thank you.
There's a lot of numbers. Page 151, item 9 is the airport. We talked about it slightly. Halfway down that page, 151, you'll see the airport. This is the statement of revenues and expenses. It had an operating loss of about $2.49 million. Go up a couple lines. You have to remember that includes $3.2 million in depreciation, which is non-cash on donated items, being the airport facility mostly right now. So it actually had a positive cash flow from operations. And not included in operations is the passenger facility charges. If you look down in non-operating revenues, the passenger facility charges of 1.6 million are non-operating. So the airport has had positive cash flow from all.
So that's been 2 years in the workings, is that
This
right?
is the second year on the passenger facility charges.
Then those funds dedicated back to the terminal project.